drains, and it was with reluctance that he pulled himself away, shaking his head at the familiar sight of steaming dung, round cakes of which had been plastered on the walls lining the field. Focusing on the task at hand, he edged closer to the enclosed colony, his eyes searching for the policeman responsible for the morning shift. The policeman in question seemed to be in significant distress, the way his head swivelled in every direction and his fists clenched and unclenched. Ismail sent up a silent prayer of thanks as he caught him abandoning his post at the most opportune moment, presumably huddling off for a leak with one hand firmly clutched around his genitals. Who would have imagined that a full bladder would be a catalyst to such destruction? Don't presume anything. Don't allow overconfidence to swamp you. The words rang clear in his head. Everything is God's will. Wasn't this what he had been learning for years now? Let this be a lesson for the murderers, those traitors who have ravaged the country, uprooted families, destroyed legacies. Let this be a solid punch in the CIA's gut. He navigated his way past the concrete barricades like a silent shadow, his muscles taut in case he had to break into a run. Adrenaline coursed through his veins, his empty stomach groaned. But he maintained a clear head and strolled past the checkpoint without inviting any suspicious eyes in his direction. He arrived at the junction between the tranquil streets without incident, but even though he had memorized the route, for a moment everything looked the same to him. Idyllic streets with concrete and brick houses rising in both directions. This part of the city held none of the rustic allure of his village. Its over-reliance on concrete depressed him, made him think of prisons and subservience. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes, allowing his mind to guide him in the proper direction. As his breathing calmed, the map of the area lit up like a bulb in the darkness, and he recalled the directions that had been given. First right, and the third left from there. Another 10 minutes of suspense, but it seemed that he had at last arrived at the desired place. The dented black gate stood out like an anomaly, quite unlike its shiny counterparts that lined the entire street. It did, however, serve its purpose of shielding the short one-story building from view. To the ordinary person, it would look like an abandoned place with the white paint peeling off the walls, revealing ugly graffiti. A clever ruse. He stepped closer, visualizing how the end would be, and a plethora of confusing notions assaulted his mind. How would it feel? Would it hurt? Would he feel the head splicing off his body and rolling across the floor? Would he even feel a hint of the savage triumph he had been promised? The voice of their leader rang in his head like a drumbeat. It will be painless for you, Jihadi, but the pain of those kafirs, those non-believers, will be unimaginable. Remember, they are not humans. They do not feel. They do not love. You shall be rewarded for this noble deed, my boy. You will go to heaven. Kill those kafirs. Kill those kafirs. He recited it like a mantra in an attempt to ward off other, more disturbing thoughts. The cocoon of indifference he had created around himself threatened to burst and reveal something ugly, something forbidden, something that smelled like fear. He felt an urgent need to tear away the shawl and fling the jacket into the rubbish, leaving the button intact and the world unchanged. Was this what going to heaven was like? Through so much pain? Through such cruelty? Did he have to stoop as low as those Goras to exact revenge? Coward! These were the workings of